when we are talking about tissues, there in this chapter, we are going to learn about two kinds of tissues. One is a plant tissue and one is a animal tissue.
Animal.
Okay. So like how we did in the chapter cell, we learned about two different kinds of cells. One was a plant cell and one is an animal cell. So we continue the same with tissues. Now, children, when I'm talking about the first chapter that we did was cells, the second chapter that we are going to do is tissues. Why is this in this particular order? It's in this particular order because we are following the hierarchy in nature. Like I said in the previous chapter, everything starts with the atoms and molecules. The atoms and molecules together, they form the cells. The cells together, they form the tissues. Tissues will form the tissue system, then the organs, the organ system, and then the human being. Okay, so we are going in that order, right? So let us start with the presentation. Now, what is a tissue? A tissue is, they are similar cells performing a specific function. And most plants and animals, everyone has a tissue system. We cannot survive without a tissue system. Now, children, in this particular slide, I have jotted down a few characteristics of the plant tissue. Don't just bother what I've read. I have written on this. What you need to understand here, I will annotate it here. See, when we are talking about the plant tissues, there are two types of tissues. First is a meristematic tissue, and the other, or the second, is a permanent tissue. Here, the main point, there are 2 points that you need to remember here. The first point is that meristematic tissues, when I talk about meristematic, it means that they are actively dividing. Okay, they divide and divide and divide and divide. As compared to that, when I'm talking about the permanent tissues, in a permanent tissue, there are cells which have finished the process of dividing and now they have attained a different function. They are doing some very important function for the plants. That means they will either protect the plant, they will either support the plant, or they will do the conducting functions of the plant. When I say about conducting, the plants will help in conduction of food and water throughout the plant. So here, students, what you need to remember, when I say meristematic, that means they are actively dividing. And when I say about permanent, that means they have finished the dividing. They are not actively dividing. They might divide, but they are not actively dividing. And they have taken up some other functions. And those other functions are protection, support, and conduction. Now, children, one more very important point is, here in meristematic tissues, when the cells are actively dividing, the cell wall is thin. Yes, it is thin because when the cell wall is thin, a thin cell wall will help in division. As compared to that, in a meristem, in a permanent tissue, the cell wall is normally thick. Now, why is it thick? Because first thing, it is not dividing. And the second thing, it has to give a protective function to the plant. Okay. And it is because of this reason it is thick. When I say that a cell wall is thick, why is it thick? Because it contains lignin. Now, what is lignin? Lignin is a substance which gives thickness to the cell wall. And because it is thick, it will not participate in cell division as actively as the meristematic tissues are doing. So children, basically in this slide, you need to remember plant tissue, yes, then it's divided into meristematic and permanent. Now children, just silently listen to what I'm saying, because in meristematic and permanent, there are a number of subtypes. Okay, so you might get confused. So the first type is plant tissue. It's divided into meristematic and permanent. Okay, now we go to the next slide. Okay, now We are going to take one part at a time, students. Now, first we'll talk about the meristematic tissue. Now, children, meristematic tissue types, they are divided into again three types. First is the apical meristem, the second is the intercalary meristem, and the third is a lateral meristem. Okay. Now, where are these three types located? For this, we have shown you a diagram. Now, children, this is a plant. When I say about where is the apical meristem, when I say about apical is something means it is the apex. Where is the apex? Apex is at the beginning, at the tip of the plant. So this is the apex. This is the apical meristem. And what is mostly there in the apical meristem, children? This is the part which is growing. The plant has to grow in length and in breadth also. Okay, so apical meristem is basically present at the beginning, at the tip of the plant. So this is where it is present. Now, when I say about intercalary meristem, intercalary is somewhere in the middle of the plant. It is in between. So this part will make up the intercalary meristem. And lastly, where is the lateral meristem present? A lateral meristem, students, lateral meristem gives rise or it helps in the plant to grow in diameter. So this is what we have shown here. It grows in a diameter. So apical, it will help in growing of the length, and lateral, it will help in growing of the diameter. The plant grows in breadth. So that is where the lateral meristem is present. And intercalary, it helps in the growth of the middle portion of the plant. Okay. Now children, please don't doodle on the slide. It's distracting me. Please, whoever is doing it, it is a request. Please don't do it. Right?
Ma'am, intercalary meristem, like it helps in the growth of leaves, right?
Yes. Everything helps in the growth of leaves. Right? Growth of leaves, growth of branches. Who has done this, children? How will I able to teach if you're doing this? It's not done, right? Okay. So I'll again go through this slide.
I have a doubt.
Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, is the lateral meristem present inside the stem or is it on the outside?
In the
It is between.
whatever is happening on the outside part of the plant. Okay. So here what is happening is apical is at the beginning, intercalary is in between, and lateral is helping in the growth if the diameter, that means the circumference of the plant is increasing. Children, when you see a small plant, the stem is so tender, right? It is very thin. But as the plant grows, the stem starts, it starts getting bigger. It starts achieving some circumference. That is the lateral meristem. Everything, the growth is happening on the outside as well as on the inside. Okay?
I have a doubt. In this, the lateral meristem is given like a bit inside of the stem.
No, it's inside. See, the thing is, it is helping in the growth in the circumference. Okay, the outside. But how will the growth happen? It has to start from the center and then it grows out, right? It's because of this it is showing like this. Understood?
So the apical meristem and the lateral meristem are on like the outer surface of the plant.
Yes, apical is at the tip. Okay, lateral is in,
right?
Huh?
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Right, apical.
So ma'am, basically apical is there for the length and meristem is there for the, lateral meristem is there for the diameter.
Yes.
So apical meristem is.
Ma'am, what is the function of intercalary meristem?
Intercalary helps
growth of leaves.
Okay, apical is happening at the tip. See, suppose if this is the plant, okay, suppose my hand is a plant. This is the apical meristem, okay, which is at the tip. Yeah. This is the intercalary, which is in between. So where is the lateral? Lateral is the circumference, okay.
So the main function of meristem is to grow the plant, growth of the plant.
Exactly, you have got it correct. The main function of meristematic.
Ma'am, when the meristematic tissues die, do they turn into permanent tissues?
Yes. Yeah. They I mean, I would not say died, they are transformed, okay? Because they have already done the function of dividing. Now that function is gone off, and now they are going to do some other functions. The meristematic is going to get converted into permanent tissues, okay? So
Ma'am, I wanted to
All
ask
the
something.
permanent tissues are sclerenchymas.
God.
no, we are going to learn it later. I'll tell you. Even that is divided
Ma'am,
into.
can I ask? Yeah,
Arya,
ma'am. So,
1 minute, 1 minute. Children, let me finish my talking, and definitely I'll address all your queries at the end. Okay? Who is this? Mitul. Where is Mitul here? Okay. Now we come to the next one.
Ma'am, I didn't do. Ma'am, I didn't do.
So someone else has written your name.
Yes, ma'am, I kept both of my hands up.
Great.
Yes, ma'am. Method did not do it this time.
Okay.
Idiot.
Right.
Whoever done that, idiot.
So students, now we have moved on to the permanent tissues. Okay. So the first kind of tissues we learned was the meristematic. Now we are come to the permanent. Now what is permanent? The meristematic tissues are transformed into permanent tissues. Now in permanent tissue, students, there are 3 types. The first is the protective, second is the supportive, and the third is the conductive tissue.
Conducting.
Okay. Now we will take one tissue at a time. Now we are coming to first is the protective tissue. Now students, the function that each and every tissue is doing is in the name itself. For example, when I say it's a protective tissue, that means what is it doing?
The plant.
It is helping in protection of the plant. Okay.
Epidermis.
Protection from adverse conditions. When I'm saying it is a supportive tissue, it is helping to support the plant. Okay, this plant is erect. Then conducting. When I say about conducting, children, it means this tissue is helping in conduction of food, and it is helping in the conduction of water. Okay. So now we take the protective tissue. Now, students, in protective tissue, in permanent tissue, students, there will be some parts which are living, some parts which are dead. Now, which is living and which is dead, I have shown it in the slides ahead. First, we come to the protective tissue. When I'm saying about the protective tissue, these cells, the cell walls are thick. They are found on surface of the roots, stems, and the leaves. For example, epidermis of the leaf, which secretes a waxy waterproof material. Now children, which is this a waxy waterproof material? What is that called? That is called as the, what is this waxy coating called?
Cap.
Cuticle. Yes.
Cap.
Okay. It's the cuticle. Now children, here what is happening? That means, what is the epidermis of the leaf, children? Epidermis means
is like the skin of.
Yes, the skin. Like how we have the skin, it is the skin of the leaf. Now, most of the plants, okay, these aquatic plants or even the plants here, what they have is, they have this cuticle on them. Now, why should the cuticle be present? Because if the cuticle is not there, suppose if there's water on the plant, what happens? The leaf will get degraded. Okay, it will die off. And if the leaf dies off, who will make food for the plant? Because no one else except for the leaves can make food, because leaves contain chlorophyll. So the plant has to have some protective mechanism. And this is what the protective tissue is doing. Okay. So this is the function of the protective tissue. Now we come to the supporting tissue. 1 minute. Now, students, the supporting tissue is divided into again 3 parts. It is, we all know about it. Yeah, we are learning this since the 7th grade.
7th standard.
Yes, it's parenchyma, it's collenchyma, and it's sclerenchyma.
Sclerenchyma.
So now, yes, good. So now we'll see one point at a time. Now, what is out of this supporting tissue, students? Parenchyma is a living tissue. It has most of the living cells. So children, how do I make out that it is living? Students, whenever I say that a particular cell is living, the main feature which will say that it is living is when I say that it has thin walled cells. right? I told you in the beginning, when the cell wall is thin, it will facilitate cell division. When I say the cell wall is thick, it will not facilitate cell division, it is dead. Okay, so when I'm saying about parenchyma, the main point is it has large, thin walled cells. Okay, so when I'm saying is thin, it is a living tissue. Now, it is made up of single vacuole. It is found in soft parts such as the cortex. Now, what is the cortex, students? The cortex is the part of the plant. It may store food, for example, in potatoes, and it provides a temporary support to them. Children, you can ask your
How does it provide support? How does it provide support?
See, students, in the beginning, when the plant is just come out of the seed, is the plant, does the wood grow on the plant? No, right?
No.
Are the branches there? No. Whatever is there is all green in color. Okay? And when it is green, students, still it is upright, right? Unless and until there is some cyclone or there's some flood, only then the plant may be uprooted. But still it is upright. And who is doing that function? The parenchyma.
Parenchyma.
Okay? In the
So it
initial.
keeps the plant straight. It keeps the plant straight.
Yes.
Ah,
Then,
And ma'am, one more thing. Can I have doubt?
Ma'am, if it's thin walled, why doesn't it support cell division?
it is supporting, right? When I'm saying parenchyma, see, I've written it here. Parenchyma is living, right? I said that in a supportive tissue, there are some cells which are living, some cells which are not living. Okay. So out
so
of,
as you told,
this is slide number 4.
Yeah. Ma'am, so apical meristem and lateral meristem are like on the outer surface of the plant or the inner surface?
See, Arya, the division starts from the inner part and then it comes to the outer part, right?
Oh. What is the function of intercalary meristem for the growth of
Intercalary,
branches?
I just asked that, man.
see,
Growth of
intercalary
leaves.
is also helping in
Growth of leaves.
growth of the leaves. It is helping in the growth of the branches. Okay,
Oh,
right?
thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Now, who, Krishna, you had a question?
yeah, ma'am, as you told, parenchyma, when the plant is young, it is like it is needed when the plant is young. So after the wood grows in the plant, after it becomes big, so still the parenchyma is living, or later it becomes like dead cell.
No, no. The
This is a
parenchyma,
permanent tissue, right?
yes, it is still living. It is still living.
Living.
Okay.
So like till
So
the
what the parent?
lifespan of the like the plant, it is living.
Yes,
Parenchyma.
it is living. There are some cells
Parenchyma,
living and some cells which are dead. I'll come to it later. Okay.
parenchyma won't turn into permanent tissue.
Parenchyma is a permanent.
Is a permanent tissue.
It is a permanent.
No, ma'am,
But
no,
in
ma'am,
a
it's like
permanent tissue, students, see what will happen if in a permanent tissue all of them are dead. Then who is going to do the function, right? So some parts are dead. They will do the part of only supporting the plant. That's it. No other function.
Ma'am, parenchyma is just part of
Have to be
the
living,
supporting tissue.
if parenchyma is living, right? The parenchyma is living, right? So then how it comes under permanent tissue?
because it is a permanent tissue which is helping in conduction of some other function. Okay, it is not actively dividing. Though it is dividing, it is not actively dividing. Okay.
Okay. So parenchyma is like a living permanent tissue.
Yes, it is a living permanent tissue. Very good. Okay. Now, children, here I want you to observe a particular characteristic. See, when I'm talking about parenchyma, students, it is made up of only one type of cell, right? All the cells that you can see are circular. Okay. Now, why I want you to observe this is because I'm going to show you something else later where you will be observing something else. Okay. And that time I'll tell you the difference. Now we are going to come to collenchyma. Now, children, what is collenchyma? They are elongated cells with thick corners found in the leaf stalk. Now, what is a leaf stalk? It is a stem that supports the plant, and it is found also below the epidermis. The function, it helps to support the plant. Now, children, even collenchyma is living. So, out of all this, parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma, parenchyma and collenchyma, they are living. Okay, they are helping in the support. However, here the corners are thick, students. I have not said that the cell wall is thick. The corners are thick. Okay. Now we come to the last part, which is sclerenchyma. Here the main part happens. Now students, in sclerenchyma, they are long. See, can you see this structure? It's elongated, right? So there are long narrow cells that are dead. So parenchyma is living, collenchyma is living. However, what is dead? Sclerenchyma is dead. Okay. Now, why is it dead? Because thick cell walls due to deposition of lignin. So students, you should just remember, thin cell walls are living, they actively participate in cell division. Thick cell walls, they are dead. Okay. Why? Because they contain lignin. Now, what is the function, students? The main function of this is to provide the strength to the plant. Now, why do the plants need strength? Because students, the plants don't have a home like us, right? We are all staying in a very comfortable environment. We are protected. However, the plants are outside. They don't have any protection. They are exposed to wind. They are exposed to the heat. They are exposed to cold. So in that scenario, they need protection, they need strength. And these are the parts which are giving them the strength, which are giving them the support. Okay. So students, let us just revise. Permanent tissue is made up of three types: protective, supportive, and conductive. In the protective is just the epidermis of the leaf. In the supportive, there are three types. It is parenchyma, sclerenchyma, and collenchyma. Okay. Now, children, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, they are all simple tissues because they are made up of only one type of cell. I'll show it to you again. See, students, this is sclerenchyma. It is made up of only one type of cells. All the cells are of the similar structure. Collenchyma, all the cells of the similar structure. And parenchyma, all cells of the similar structure. That means they are made up of only one type of cell, and it's because of this they are called as simple tissues, because they are made up of one type of cell. Right? Now we are coming to the next part. This is the last part, students. It is the conductive tissue, and they are nothing but xylem and phloem. Children, the same thing being repeated, right? Xylem, phloem, sclerenchyma, collenchyma.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. See, this is how it's okay. So, students, is just a revision of what you have done earlier, right? Okay.
So permanent tissues, they're non-living tissues, right?
What, darling?
Permanent tissues are non-living tissues.
I'll tell you. Aya, get your concept clear here. I'll tell you once again. There are meristematic which are actively dividing, and there are permanent tissues which have been transformed into a non-dividing. However, there are living tissues and dead tissues. Okay.
Oh.
Not all of them are dead. Some are still living. Okay. Like how we learned in parenchyma, colon, and scleren. Out of these three, paren and colon were living. Only scleren was dead. Understood? The same thing happens with xylem and phloem also. Okay. Now we come to xylem. Now students, even in xylem and phloem, there are some living tissues and there are some dead tissues. Which are those? I'll tell you. Now in a xylem are thick walled cells. They provide for the upward movement of water. Now students, this is something, it's a bit confusion between xylem and phloem, very confusing points. However, if you get to know the basics, the concept, you will never forget it.
Ma'am, actually, xylem and phloem are just opposite to each other. So if you learn one, it's the same thing.
Correct.
Unidirectional and bidirectional.
Yes, correct. Very good, students. I'm very happy that you still remember what you have done in the 7th grade. Very happy with this. Good. Okay. So students, when I come to xylem, it is a thick wall cells. They provide for upward movement of water and dissolved minerals, right? And who does it, students? The absorption of water is done by the roots. Okay. So students, here the movement is unidirectional. Okay. It happens on only one side because water is absorbed from the soil and it goes to all the parts of the plant. So it's unidirectional. Okay. The older xylem tissue does not participate in transport. Why? Because students, can you see, I have shown you here, this is a cross section of a wood, okay, of the bark of the tree. Now, can you see this outer brown part, students? Yes, this brown part is nothing but that is the older xylem tissue, which is the wood. Okay. So what is this doing, students? It is giving the protection. Okay, because students, unless and until.
So is that the outer xylem tissue dead?
Yes, that is dead.
Yeah.
Yes,
that only performs protective functions.
Yes, it provides a protective function because unless and until we just uproot the plant or cut the tree, nothing is going to happen to the tree. Okay, that wood is that thick. Students, our session will end.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just quickly do it. No need to log in again. I'll come to you again on Wednesday. However, before students, yes.
Ma'am, I have a doubt. The last point, age of the tree is determined by counting the annual rings, which are the rings. Ma'am, this is like an extra depth, so we do not know. But where is this annual rings?
I'll tell you. See, students, what is happening is, can you see these rings here? Yes, 1, 2, 3. Now, these rings are nothing but they are the xylem rings. Now, what happens?
We have to cut the tree to see the age.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, students, it's like one ring represents 1 year. Okay. It represents one entire. Who is doing this, children? Please stop doing it. It's disturbing me. Okay. So one ring will represent 1 year. So if there are 3 rings, that means the plant is or the tree is 3 years old. If there are 4 rings, that means the tree is 4 years old, and so on and so forth. Understood, children?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
How many rings which are on the outer surface of the wood?
Ma'am,
which one?
How many rings this plant has?
Ma'am, which are on the outer surface of the wood?
Why you want to?
See, on the outer surface, there are no rings, dear. The rings are inside. Outer surface, there is only wood. Okay, the rings are inside.
So, ma'am, but then you have to kill a plant to you have to kill it.
Yes, you have to cut a tree. Okay.
Ma'am, the wood is the old xylem cell, right?
Yes, the wood is the older xylem tissue. Right?
And ma'am, can you just explain colon-chyma again?
Colon-chyma again. 1 minute. Darling, can I first finish my session and then I'll explain it to you again. Okay? Now, students, in xylem tissue, it consists of tracheids. See, I've shown it here. This is a picture of a xylem. It is made up of tracheids. It's made up of xylem vessels or trachea, and it is made up of xylem parenchyma. Now, students, here I have highlighted some points. The tracheids are dead. The xylem vessels are dead. However, the xylem parenchyma is living. Okay. Now, students, this entire structure, it is a xylem. But can you observe that it is made up of different types of cells? Yes, these cells, they are of different shape. That means this xylem is a complex tissue. Why is it complex? Because there are different cells and all the cells are of different shapes. Okay, now we are talking about the tracheids. The tracheids, they are elongated. See this last part, they are elongated dead cells, large cavities without any contents. Children, you just have to learn this, okay? They are highly lignified cell walls and they provide mechanical support. Now the xylem vessels, they are also dead. Long tube-like structures transports water and dissolved minerals. Cell walls are hard, thick and lignified. And parenchyma, they are living cells and the function is to store water and conduction of water and dissolved minerals. That means...
So the xylem parenchyma have large vacuoles.
Xylem parenchyma.
The storage of water and...
Yes, yes. So students, out of these 3, trachea and trachea, they are dead and parenchyma is living. Okay?
Ma'am, why does xylem have to store water?
I mean, xylem fiber is also dead, darling. Okay?
But it's not given in the description you gave.
Yeah, because the points are almost the same. Okay? Children, who is doing this? Okay? So fibers are also dead. Only parenchyma is the living tissue here. Okay, and now we move to the last point, which is the
Ma'am,
yes.
ma'am, why do xylem need to store water? They just need to conduct water, right?
Yes, but in cases where the water is not there, what is it going to do? The plant can't die, right? They need to
In a
store water.
desert.
Okay. Now, students, we come to the last part quickly because there's just 10, hardly 5-6 minutes. Now, students, xylem is associated with conduction of water and dissolved nutrients, whereas phloem is associated with conduction of food, right? Now, children, who makes the food for the plant? It is the leaves which is making
Leaves.
the food for the plant. Okay, so the food is made in the leaves and then it is conducted downwards. Okay, so cells, these cells, they provide a passage for the downward movement of food manufactured in the leaves to various parts of the plant. They also provide for the upward movement. Now, students, the phloem consists of 4 parts. See, these are the 4 parts: sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and phloem fibers. Now, students, out of these 4, 3 are living and 1 is dead. Sieve tubes, companion cells, and parenchyma is living and phloem fibers are dead. Now, students, xylem and phloem, they together are called as the vascular bundles and they are called as complex tissues. Why, students? Because this single tissue is made up of 4 different types of cells. However, in the earlier section, they were called as simple tissues because each tissue was made up of one single type of cell. Okay, here each tissue is made up of different types of cells and hence they are called as complex tissues. Okay, now students, this is a xylem and this is a phloem. Xylem is unidirectional, phloem is bidirectional. Okay.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask in phloem,
Yes.
like if water goes up in phloem, can it just change? Can it just like switch the part and go down again?
Darling Arya,
What happens?
phloem is supposed to conduct food. Xylem will do
Oh,
water. Okay.
so when the food is going so up and like it can just like again go down.
Of course, the food has to go down, Arya, because food, everything needs food, right? Even the branches will need food to stay
No,
alive.
not that.
Then
Like the food is going up and automatically switches and just go down like without like that
food is made by the leaves. So from the leaves, it's going to go down.
and up.
Yes. And up also. Because up also the plant is, the plant grows from the top, right? So it has to go up, it has to go down also. Right? Now, children, just a brief recap. Plant tissues, 2 types: permanent, meristematic. Now, in the permanent tissues, there are simple tissues, there are complex tissues. Simple because it's made up of single type of cell, complex because it is made up of more than one type of cell. Now, in the simple, the subtypes are epidermis, parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. And in the complex tissue, it is xylem and phloem. And these are the different parts of the xylem and phloem. Okay,